you. 24 is here, which means new year, new you. No matter what your resolution may be, make sure you look good while doing it with our brand new line of Second Wind hats, hoodies, t-shirts, and more over at Shark Robot. Want to lose that belly fat? Wear your fully Ramblematic hoodie and laugh at an industry that never learns anything. Tee-hee-hee. Oh, my sides. Planning to eat healthier? Cook up a meal fit for Dabarella Eatster and an entire D&D group with your Adventure is Nigh Jumper. Want to read more books? Go to the theater in your backdrop t-shirt. Movies, they're just like books, but better. Want your voice to sound more like Frost's? Well, that's probably not gonna happen, but look over there. It's a cold take hat. Head over to sharkrobot.com/second-wind or click on the link in the description to check out all the new merch today. Act fast because some of it is only available for a limited time, just like our fragile lives. Floating on a rock in a void of nothingness. How peaceful.
Yes, there we are. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Jack, for that lovely trailer. It's nice that he puts the effort in, isn't it? And welcome to the Windbreakers podcast. I'm Yahtzee Croshaw. I'm joined by Marty Sleeper and Sebastian Ruiz.
Hello, everyone. I'm sorry, I was
really
really emphatic on that. Hello, my apologies.
Yes.
I didn't know if I was supposed to harmonize with you, but you ended faster than you started. So
Sorry, I've sort of introduced you both individually, but I can never tell who's going to pick up what I'm laying down.
or who's
Apparently, only one of us has done media training around here. Anyway, welcome to Windbreaker Podcast, where this week, fittingly, for the week everyone's back to work, we are talking about the subject of grind.
The good grinds and the bad grinds.
How does Webster's Dictionary define grind, would you say, Marty?
what's Webster know about grinds?
What does Webster know? To me, grinding is a pretty broad topic, but I think it is in game form, repeated singular action for the sake of goals, which are usually numbers going up or fake items going up.
And the question is, what separates the good grind from the bad? Because when you say grind is just repeating a thing over and over again, that's basically just a gameplay loop. That is a primary gameplay loop.
Gameplay loop, also practice. You know, you can grind on a flute till you master it. So
yeah,
it's
I think grinding. Grinding has
on your
a
flute.
Oh my God! Already, we are only minutes into this podcast, and you're already hubbing. Yeah, I think grinding immediately has a negative connotation with people, but then everyone's going to be like, well, grinding's bad, except for these games where I like grinding. So I kind of want to get into the psychology of those specific things that we are like, this kind of grinding is fine, but that grinding is bad.
I've actually got
games. There are plenty of games that entirely design themselves around the grind experience. Power Wash Simulator is the title that springs to mind. That's basically nothing but grind.
Oh, yeah, you went there.
I would say any of those podcast games you talk about yachts are ostensibly grinding games.
Well, quite. I mean, I wouldn't play them without a podcast, but you know, that's what they're there for.
Yeah.
So in my view, that's when I appreciate a grind. But as for whether I'd appreciate it inherently, if I didn't have a podcast to listen to, probably not so much. I like having a thing I can fidget with my hands, but at the same time, I also appreciate, you know, a meaningful story experience, which makes me go, oh, gonna have to pause the podcast for this.
Could have played during it, you know. I've sort of quantified it into like 3 points. In the first off, what caused the need for grind, in the sense of like your power washer, it's because you just wanted it, right? But for other things, it's like, okay, I'm not strong enough, or I'm lacking items, or whatever. And then the grind itself. And then what happens after? Because those are the 3 things that are always like, when do I like it? When do I not? Like, I absolutely hate grind for the sake of grind. Those are my least favorite. And honestly, grind for the sake of grind is the worst one, right below grind because the developer wants me to pay money. Like, a grind that I can't stop, that I can't even put my credit card into is just sick.
Well, of course, the traditional grind in the RPG sense is having to stop progressing and kill a load of random monsters over and over again in order to build up your levels to make yourself competitive with the upcoming challenge.
Yeah, well, and there's the difference between feeling like you have to do it, which in my opinion means that something wonky went wrong in the design process, versus feeling compelled to or wanting to do it because you like that kind of min maxing and you like seeing your numbers go up and walking into the next dungeon and just you know
Well, for
whooping
me,
everyone's
in
ass.
games where I want to grind are the games that have the strong primary gameplay loop thing, where it's just fun and cathartic to keep doing the primary loop.
Mm-hmm.
Like something like
Interesting,
Bomb Rush Cyberpunk or Spider-Man. Yeah, if you could call just randomly going around the city doing stunts and stuff grinding, but it's
Yeah.
fun to do. I could like lose myself for hours doing that.
Yeah, and it's also like, what is the end of it? Like, what is the grinding for? Like, are you grinding towards I just want to get stronger, like this sort of nebulous stronger, or do you have a goal in mind? Like, are you grinding because you want 100 blanks so that you can craft a blank, or you're grinding because you want enough souls to level up your arcane so that you can use this sick new spell? Or are you grinding super chats so that we can hit our $10,000 donation goal so that we can go to
shit.
Adventures Night Live on location in March?
Aren't we supposed to have an overlay for that these days?
I
No.
don't know if on these talk shows we have space for the overlays yet.
Okay. Well, if we did have an overlay, it would say, hey, donate money through super chats and shit so we can reach our target of $10,000 to go and film season 4 of Adventurers Night. That's
And
the
stay in a
current
haunted Airbnb.
motive. But as for what you're grinding for, that depends on what you play games for. And this goes back to the different kinds of gamer that I've occasionally seen catalogued in books on game design theory, because everyone goes in with different motivations. Some people go in to get to the end of the story, and I like to think I'm one of those. I'm a story chaser type. Some people play games because they want to master a skill. Some people play games just because they want to kill time, I suppose.
You feel something in this cold, cruel world. But because it goes to type, I was actually going to think maybe we start there. What games or maybe archetype of grind do you guys like? Because I feel we like different ones. Like, crack out a title. Yeah, it's grinding for the story. Crack any of them.
Okay. The Witcher 3.
There you go. That's a solid one. Because funny enough, that's why I like my grind for that game was also like I want to see more of the story, not the loot, nothing else. It's for the narrative.
I've had the problem I had with The Witcher 3 that there was what it did was that I did a couple of side missions, like just to enjoy the stories and stuff, and to make sure my character was like properly equipped and properly leveled. But very quickly, I found that I was over leveled for the main campaign. And I was like, well, now I feel like I don't want to do the rest of the side missions and experience those stories, because that'll only make me even more over-leveled.
Those stories are good.
It's funny because there's some people where that is the point for them. Like, they want to feel like they're constantly over-leveled because they put in the work at the beginning. Whereas you want to like kind of walk that knife's edge of you want to feel like you're constantly like on the verge of maybe falling over, but not quite.
For me, the ideal like difficulty curve is where you're always like winning by the skin of your teeth.
Mm-hmm.
That shows a very competently designed difficulty curve, as I say.
Mm-hmm.
If you're just like dying over and over again, it's just frustrating. But if you're like winning with like 75% of your health every single boss fight, then I feel unchallenged.
Mm-hmm.
I want to feel like I'm being challenged just enough without, being a roadblock.
Yeah.
So sometimes, there's a lot of like Ubisoft style sandboxes that have the level based system where you can't continue to the next bit of the plot until you reach level such and such. And I'll occasionally just do just enough side stuff to get me up to the right level for the next bit of the critical path campaign.
Mm-hmm.
It's always really like a mild feeling of resentment, though.
Yeah.
The going back to your question for us, I feel like I don't. By and large, I am that person who tries to finish a game to see the ending and then I'm done. I'm not a completionist. I'm not. I don't have a sense of mastery in things. But of course, like I mentioned earlier, we all have our exceptions to the rules. And I find it kind of cathartic to grind in classic turn-based JRPGs, especially if I'm second screening them. I like replaying those older games on my Switch or on a Steam Deck or any sort of handheld thing while I'm watching something else, while I'm watching sports, while I'm watching.
There is,
TV
yeah.
shows.
What is the grind in CRPGs? For those who don't play.
CRPGs or JRPGs? Because I don't have any CRPGs.
You said CRPG, didn't you?
No, I think
No, he said JRPGs.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be caught dead with a CRPG.
No, of course not. This is Marty we're talking about.
What is grind
No, the grind is relatively simple loops, like Persona 5. Take for example,
Yeah,
is
I was
going into
about to say.
mementos. Yeah,
I was perfectly happy grinding up dungeons in Persona 4 just to make sure
Mm-hmm.
I had unlocked every single Persona.
yeah, and you also get a nice.
There was a satisfaction in doing that because in the past I've had trouble with JRPGs, like when I have to actually think about what I'm doing and strategize a fight.
Mhm.
And the satisfaction in going through Persona 4, knowing that every single random fight you do is making you a little bit stronger.
Mhm.
And every step you take is making you better equipped for the next big fight.
Persona 4 I like specifically as an example because there's no central grinding location like a Mementos or anything. And so you go through each of the dungeons the first time. And it's generally like, quasi difficult. Like you have to keep your wits about you and you need to exploit weaknesses and everything. And
Look
then
at that fancy new toffee cam that's showing off trailers of the things
cam.
we're talking about.
Incredible. But then the second time you go through, if you're grinding again, you are a couple levels higher. You know what to expect. And so it feels almost like a victory lap through those. And so you're playing through the same locations, but it's like a different endorphin rush you're getting. Instead of kind of having to pay full attention to what's going on, you're able to relax a little bit and sort of loosen your grip on the wheel, which is usually dangerous, but in that case, it's not.
Yeah, you're an interesting one because I had asked you before. I was like, Marty, how do you get so many games done? But you just kind of you say you don't have a forever game, whereas that's actually quite common nowadays having those forever live service games. Would you say though you grind franchises now? I've seen you go on like all this self-imposed,
self-imposed franchise grinding. Yeah, I went through some of the Sonic games, the Zelda games, the Mario games. I'm going through all the Final Fantasy VII games right now. So. Yeah, if we're counting that as grinding, but that's more of like I have a head injury and
it's grinds you enjoy though, so I think it's worth.
Yeah.
Funny that Final Fantasy VII is like 19 games.
And some of them are pretty bad. Dirge of Cerberus.
Oh yeah, fucking Dirge of Cerberus.
Third-person shooter. Not great.
No, that was the Vincent Valentine game, right?
It was, yeah. It was very mid aughts in terms of it's very brown, it is very boring, and it is very emo.
So I do get satisfaction in grinding if I know I'm getting stronger. I think games like Earthbound, I enjoyed that as well. Because as long as you can easily get back and get all your health back.
That's
and then continue the grind.
What about games that make you feel like the grind makes you smarter? Slay the Spire.
Oh, like Dark Souls.
Or sure,
You just have to keep trying a boss until you've. I do get a satisfaction of like constantly banging my head against a boss fight until I've memorized all the attack patterns. That's why I don't appreciate. That's why I don't appreciate like Souls likes that sort of penalize you for dying too much. Like Dark Souls 2 like makes your maximum health go down if you keep dying. So I'd like equip the one ring that like stabilized it at 75% and never took it off the entire game.
That was my gripe with like Bloodborne, where it's like, here, you have no vials now, go grind for them. I was like, why?
Yeah.
You ruined it. Everything was going so well.
I just want to be free to memorize all the boss fight attacks and memorize the exact right move to make when it happens.
Yeah, you brought up Earthbound earlier. I always like how you see your character growth not just based on your stats going up and you causing more damage, but when you go and fight lower leveled enemies, once you're a few levels above them, if you attack them from behind, there is no battle. There's like it goes like the color thing instead of going to like black goes to green and then it just blips and you just win. And so there is no battle. You are just so strong that it says you don't need to fight this thing. Like we will give you the XP, we'll give you the loot. Like you have proven yourself, and I always really love that.
It's funny. There's so many like big games that are like what I would call gear grinders now, where you have to keep your gear score up. But the sense of actually feeling like you've gotten stronger from equipping something with higher numbers or leveling up always seems to be lost in these games
Oh,
because
bless you.
your numbers increase so infinitesimally.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually feel like you when you actually get down to it, do the fighting, you don't actually feel like you're doing that much more damage than you did before.
Yeah.
I guess that makes me the sick puppy because I'm the one that does play the games as a service. The actual idle games, I've got like 3 on my phone. One I've had for like a year, and I do play a bunch of like roguelike runners. And I feel like even that gear score thing, that infinitesimal grind for 0.1% increase in whatever, has even taken over in the like rogue sort of area, to the point where I can point to the Binding of Isaac had great upgrade systems in that you can do something like take 2 devil deals in one run and you unlocked a new character that now plays different to your base character. You've unlocked more of the game. And then Brotato does that as well now, where it's like heal 200 times in one run, you've unlocked the doctor character, which it plays a whole different way. Whereas, funny we used it for the thumbnail, Hades is just, well, you grind for currency, and then that currency you can spend to be 5% stronger, 10% stronger. And it's more so like, why are you grinding? It's to feel like I didn't lose everything. Which
Yeah,
is
but
like,
Binding of Isaac is almost unique in that it does actually feel like every run is different.
yeah.
Because
yeah.
it's got a fairly basic gameplay loop, and everything you pick up fundamentally changes the way you fight and the way you move.
Oh,
And that's
the
rare
map.
to see in like rival roguelites because most of them are just, get the sword or get the hammer.
Yeah, no, that's why.
One of them is fast and one of them slow.
That's why I find it odd. I used to think I was almost unsatisfied because I just do like every now and then just numbers go up, but it felt like I tried Suicide Squad and not Suicide Gotham Knights and a few other ones. And I was like, they all just do this. Oh, now this one's purple, but it's really no different. Whereas I'm looking for kind of like Borderlands, that the gameplay is actually opening up and it's now exploding every time I shoot or some new effect or other. It's a difference, I guess, between like a WoW raid and Terraria, where it's like, okay, I farmed a boss, now I can make different outfits with it, where it's fun. But a WoW raid, it's the grind itself is what's annoying. You have to get 50 people to fight online with you. You have to wait in line, and you might not get it. So
yeah, it's annoying enough getting 5 people together to play board games every other weekend.
Right.
Does the grind change when you're grinding with friends, or is that one of those things that it's not the grind that's any better, it's the friends that are better, like the multiplayer games thing?
That is another job. Have you ever WoW raided, Marty? Have you met a WoW
no,
raider?
I have not. I played about 30 hours of WoW the year it came out, and that was
Sure. Yeah.
Nothing I've seen of WoW raiding has made it seem attractive to want to get into.
You got to be like a militant type. I feel that's the kind in there. But that's why I sort of like, those are my 3 things for grind. Why am I grinding? If it's just like, Lords of the Fallen was an interesting one because of, you can go into the fucking, what the hell was it called?
Umbral?
Gary, Indiana.
Umbral world.
Gary, Indiana.
You can go into the Umbral and everything's harder, but it just keeps popping up and you can kill it. And you can essentially grind to be a little bit stronger. But that's at your own volition. That's at like, I just need one more level. So I'm just going to pop into the Umbral real quick, kill some things, pop out. So like, why am I grinding? How is the grind? And then what's the point after the fact?
Hey, Eric found the overlay for the donation goal.
You did it. Look at that.
Nice one.
I'm proud of us.
Give us cash, assholes.
Give us money.
Now you grind money into this overlay and watch the number go up. So we know what you like.
A few people earlier mentioned grinding and farming. Is grinding, in my opinion, grinding is when the things you get are just numbers. So it's either money or XP or whatever. And then farming is you get items. So they're like ostensibly the same things, but it's like getting presents instead of money.
You can grind to farm, but can you farm to grind? I'd say if you're playing Stardew Valley and you want to get to level 10 farming, you could potentially grind to farm.
Level 10 farming. What the hell do you do? Do you just get the best hose in town?
Hubba hubba.
Ooh. No, seriously, what happens at level 10 farming?
you get a bunch of bonuses, like you unlock new crafting recipes, you become more efficient at collecting stuff.
What's the end goal in Stardew?
Well, there isn't one. That's kind of
To
the
not
point.
be haunted by your grandpa? The ghost
I think.
of your
Well,
grandpa?
after 3 years, the ghost of your grandpa shows up and judges you, conservative old bastard as he is.
Sure,
But
sure.
that's not the end of the game. You just keep going.
You do other things on that farm, right? Like you help out people do their things. Is
Well,
the
the game's
grind helping you help them?
Well, the point of the game is you find the activity you want to do, I suppose. And some people
Okay.
just like to live a fairly balanced existence. That's what I usually do. You tend your farm, you plant stuff, you sell vegetables, you look after animals and sell their products. You build up money and you spend the money on upgrades to your house. And once your house is fully upgraded, you can marry someone and have 2 kids. And then you've built up basically the ideal farming life.
I feel like farming is the positive connotation of a grind for the joy of just the thing that you are doing. Like people who farm their Pokemons or literal farming or whatever or not.
Well, when Marty brought up farming, he was talking about
Like loot, farming loot.
Yeah, endlessly
Farming.
killing a certain enemy in the hope of getting a certain random drop.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, Diablo has it. Destiny has it.
Yeah.
that kind of- that-
So, and you were asking if that's like the difference between that and grinding is just like whether you just get numbers going up or if you get an actual item.
Yeah, they don't see, because a couple of people asked that at the top of the chat, and I was thinking about that, and I was like, they seem relatively similar to me.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. I like a game that gives me some control over the temperature of the water when I want to grind.
Yeah.
A lot of these the older Final Fantasy re-releases have the ability to increase speed of battles, completely turn off battles, increase the battle rate, increase the amount of XP you get, gil, stuff like that. Even like newer games like Bravely Default had like a encounter rate slider, which I really liked. Like if you wanted to grind, you could set it to 9, and every step you'd instigate a battle, or you could set it to 0 and you could walk around a dungeon and never encounter an enemy, which that sort of flexibility is nice.
Well, then we're getting into what I would call meta grind, because you have got the grind, which is the thing that some people enjoy, but then there's another like meta grinding experience that some people like. My wife seems to like it, where the challenge is to find the most optimal way to grind. Like my wife used to really like playing Cookie Clicker, and she took it so seriously. She had spreadsheets set up. She'd like because she's like a math graduate. She calculated the like optimal process to maximize cookie profits.
Incredible.
I'd do that on a weekend every now and
through
again.
spreadsheets and things, and some people enjoy that, and that's like almost one level above grinding. It's grinding your grind, grinding your ability to grind.
Frost, you are a spreadsheet guy. You like a spreadsheet, a list
I do
guy.
love me a good spreadsheet, but I'm a nasty spreadsheet. I've got friends who are like very much like that is beautiful. Mine, I treat it like a paper pencil napkin.
Yeah.
And it's like, mine are disgusting. But I found a game called Time is Honey. It is like Cookie Clicker, but it's just bees. You're keeping bees, and with a bit of money, you can open up card packs that give you 3 bees. And this is what I chase for: is feeling smarter than that, as you said, that optimization. I found that the money doesn't come so much from getting nice bees; it's from flipping bees and opening up more card packs and getting a legendary. So then the game just changed completely. It wasn't an idle game anymore. I'm there like, okay, how fast am I opening this? Okay, if I can get them to this level, then it gives me my money back. But now I've gotten so much money, I've increased my upgrades so much that it's a waste of time to even bother leveling these. So just throw them out, and you just go mad for that. It is like instead
you
of
ever feel like you're a prisoner of a game at that point?
No, because some of them have endings. Those are nice. The ones that go forever, I'm like, that's my weekend.
No, I'm not a prisoner. Sometimes the beatings stop.
Yeah, if I say please. Sometimes they have all the Harry Potter books in prison. It's not that bad. Was
that news story? Was that news story that went around a while back that some prison banned the prisoners from playing D&D, and the reason they gave was because it might cause them to fantasize about escaping?
Because they're definitely not doing that outside of D&D. That's incredible. They might be able to form a strategy with the right DM. They could form a strategy on how to escape.
Yeah, no.
That's how they were going to plan their escape attempt, like sort of the same way, like those right-wing militias coordinate things online and say in Minecraft at the end
Yeah.
for the sake of deniability.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you know you can escape? And I think it's Sweden. They won't hold it against you because they think that's a natural response to being imprisoned.
Yeah,
I think it's just that. Well, obviously they'll try to recapture you, but you don't get additional years added to your sentence for escaping.
If you like break things and hold people hostage, they'll hold that against you. But the act of trying to get out, they're like, I would too, sure.
Yeah, I see that.
I think I'd do that. If this doesn't pan out, I'm just gonna go to a Swedish prison and just
Be like, let's see how much I can.
Well, if they designed prisons where they gave you like an exercise bike in every room and just display in front of the exercise bike a screen saying the amount you rode this week and then your personal best to the left, I think a lot of people wouldn't escape from prison if you gave them that.
Gamify prison?
Yeah.
We grindify prison.
Grindify prison. So wait, bouncing off this, we've talked about the grinds that we relate to, the grinds, our own personal grinds that we don't mind. What are bad grinds in your mind? Like what
bad grinds?
For me, the first thing that comes up is sort of that false sense of FOMO that comes from like a battle pass or like sort of feeling people like they need to log in every day or else they're gonna fuck up their streak or anything. People being like, oh, I only have 30 days to do this much in Fortnite because I'm not gonna get my fucking Captain America costume or whatever.
The ones
like that feels like it preys on people's I don't know, psychosis, I guess.
But I have to ask, would you forgive that if the game was fun to play? Like, if we were dealing with something like Spider-Man 2, and they were saying, hey, if you like swing and do athletics for like an hour every day, you get an extra prize. And I'd be like, well, I could do that because that's what I like doing anyway.
I mean, I think that's certain games like Destiny or Fortnite or Genshin even, I think you mentioned Frost. I think the people who are hardcore into those games do find it fun. Like Bungie's gameplay is fun.
Well, you gotta hope so.
I would hope so. But like, man, when I think of like the only game that kind of hooked me into that daily, weekly thing was, and granted, it was during the pandemic, so I was depressed. But it was the fucking Avengers game, which is bad. It was bad. It was not fun. I was not having fun while doing it. But I would log in every day and like sometimes every 6 hours to make sure I did my things so that I could get my things, so I could get more orbs, so that maybe I can unlock this new Iron Man costume that I didn't care about.
What a great use of time it's proved to be.
I was a prisoner. Now I don't think any of that exists anymore, which is fine. It's probably for the best. Those were dark times.
Could have learned to bake bread like everyone else, but you've done that instead. To me, definitely, like once it gets to that point of you're making more demands of my time and my money, and not really giving me much back in amusement, then I was like, what's the point there? There was a game I reviewed at the old place. I forgot what it were. That it felt like the most predatory gacha game mechanics, but at no point could I put in the credit cards. I was like, you're just sick. What?
Yeah.
I can't even get out of here with my wallet.
Yeah.
Like, what's happening?
Yeah. You're torturing me. It's not for information. You're not trying to make me talk. You just
don't know what you're doing.
like the knife. Yeah.
I guess that they've just sort of trained people to want that experience now. Like I was convinced Gotham Knights was a live service, but people were saying, no, stop calling it a live service. It's not actually online. And I was like, well, why does it feel like a live service then? Why does it play like one?
All the bad parts with none of the like minor good parts.
And not even the predatory parts. So it's like, what is this?
Yeah. I mean, with a case like that, you assume it was one thing.
It's methadone for people trying to get off the heroin.
I guess so. Yeah. There you go.
I mean, you could wean off gambling addictions with those. Actually, there was some guy said his granny used to waste all their money at the casino until he showed her Pokemon, the casino, and that. And she would just every now and then would lose all the money in that, and would just tell her grandson, "Hey, could you give me more coins in this?" And he would just grind her out some coins, and she'd have a good time. Never went to a casino again.
I like how the Pokemon Casino is like the simplest casino ever. Like we could take her to games that have like much more robust casinos, but no, keep her in the Pokemon line.
Gaming could be, could rehabilitate. It's the nicotine patch for gambling.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but then they find all those games that actually do have real gambling in.
Yeah, well, some people get, they wean on with nicotine. It's It's a
Yeah.
little smoother
Yes.
going in.
You know, I've been looking into becoming addicted to nicotine lately. What would you recommend for a beginner?
The gum.
The gum.
The
There you
gum.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's easy. That's easy
Mhm.
peasy.
Actually, I can see how it happens, actually. I was a social smoker for a while in that I didn't actually buy cigarettes for myself. But if I was at a party and I was hanging out with my mates outside, I'd just bum a smoke off them to be part of the conversation.
Yeah, that's how I
I can
got
see
it.
how someone could like become addicted by that route.
I worked at a coffee shop that people who smoked just got extra breaks. And I was like, well, I'm going to
Yeah.
start smoking, so I get extra breaks. And then I was like,
Yeah,
wait, this isn't good. Now I'm
Yeah, I was
smoking.
like,
Now I'm
what?
paying money and I'm smoking.
I'd have gummy bears. I was like, oh, we're doing this? I'd just have
Oh,
a couple black for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're having.
Candy
But hey,
cigarettes.
if you let smokers go out for a break every 5 minutes, people who like gummy bears should be allowed to have gummy bears for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And they were down. I'd pass around gummy bears. They'd have their smokes. Later, it just came to I'd just carry a lighter around, and they were, they're like, fuck it. He's always got a light.
When do you are there games where it starts off and sometimes like the grind to me feels like that thing if you enter a new relationship and there's like a thing your partner does and you find it like cute and endearing, and then as time goes on it starts to like grate at you a little bit and you're like, oh, that like cracking knuckles all the time like isn't as cute and endearing as I thought it was, and actually every time I hear it it drives me up the fucking wall.
Yeah,
And I'm
that's
like, is there like
yeah.
gameplay mechanics that do that for you where you're like for the first couple hours you're like really into it and then you're like, oh no, I don't want to do this anymore?
Oh, what you
For
call
me,
it?
this is in the little things. Like
Yeah.
I was playing Hogwarts Legacy, and I was enjoying it for a while, but then it like gets into the grindy second half where it's just like constantly copy pasted combat arenas against like 3 different enemy factions. And what I found was starting to really get on my nerves at that point was the menu interface. When you pressed start, there'd be this animation where you'd see a book open and all the pages would fall into place before they'd make the map appear. I'm like, I just want to get a fucking objective marker to the next bit. Stop it with the fucking page turning animations.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it started out really cute and then it's like, this is too much.
It's usually like inevitable. Like, let's say, I think it was Red Dead. He makes a big old fuss of going through people's pockets and stuff. And like, I'm just trying to loot right now, please.
Opening every drawer and
get on with it. Yeah, all the
yeah.
animations at once. It's. I think it's just improper planning in that way.
Yeah.
In that vein of like bad grinds that make me feel like inevitably, I had to grind before I started the game. I know people love this game, like with all their hearts. Huge fan base. Dead Cells. It feels like I have to put it on the babyest mode and grind out all the currencies and find all the weapons, and then I get to actually play Dead Cells. There's just too much stuff on it. And it is.
You need to get good, scrub.
No, because I play it like an idle game. The most efficient way to do it is to just put the ego away, put it on the baby mode, and it's faster. It's faster than everything else. The only suckers like just grind out the hardest for their ego.
Yeah, I mean, games like there's
Well, I'm feeling a little bit attacked by that, man.
You like narratives. You don't care about your skill.
Oh,
Maybe
well,
that's part of it.
I like a blend, you know. That's why I don't really get on with visual novels or like choose your own adventure games like what David Cage makes. I appreciate the point where interactivity and the gameplay grind meets narrative.
Sure.
So I like, I like a Dark Souls grind. I like all of that.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think grind can ever be? That's interesting. Like, I never associate grind with story.
Hmm.
Do you? Like,
Funny, yeah. Metroidvanias, you grind out for the ending.
Yeah.
They consistently give you 3 endings, and
yeah,
a lot of it is kind of grindy.
I suppose I see getting to the next story point as sort of my motivation for the grinding. That's sort of how I've designed Starstruck Vagabond. You do deliveries to build up enough money so you can buy the next engine upgrade that gets you to the next story point. Is my vision there.
yeah. I can like that. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like the games where the grind, I guess maybe less story and more of like while grinding, the experience of doing it is giving me something that is take like Death Stranding. I like the game is kind of built. Most of what you're doing is like based in altruism of Sam trying to kind of put together the pieces of a broken world, and you're trying to help people out, and you're building roads and supplies and tools for strangers who are going to come behind you. And there was a grind to that I really liked because I was maybe it's because it's timing coming like right near the beginning of the pandemic, was like you were helping anonymous strangers, and there was something about it that like really touched me in a way to where it's like I wasn't grinding to try to get bigger swords or try to get more money or shit. Like I was grinding to try to like make the world a slightly better place, and that
That's
I don't know.
wholesome.
Yeah, and that like really appealed to me in a way that Kojima kind of touched that with the sort of communal grinding in Metal Gear Solid 5, where it was like, can we reach like full what was the whole thing, like everyone gets rid of their nukes, and there's like a secret ending if every player reaches like 100% nuclear disarmament, which I always found is a funny thing for a guy like him to see.
Yeah. When to the original point of grind for story, I guess the only one I know that exists is Hades. You can't. You literally have to get the rest of the story. You have to grind out runs to the point where you can just die. You don't even have to win, and you can.
Yeah,
get
and that
more
works pretty
story.
well because the story is very much on the ground in that you like converse with gods every time you get one of their upgrades at the end of every room. So it's not just like a distant thing you're working towards; it's a thing that's a constant presence.
Until the later end, where you do, because it's got that relationship thing, the affinity. You have to grind out the resource, find the gods, and then that's how you actually unlock some of the later weapons. And it's like, wow, that's a lot. It's a lot. And the game doesn't change. I love it. Just saying, that's not the most egregious. I would put that in the middle, where I'm like, okay, I can handle it. Sure, you know.
Yeah. Frost, did you talk about Brotato yet?
Like twice.
I feel like you might be the world's #1 Brotato defender in my mind. Like, what is not even defender, just number one Brotato?
Yeah, that's
number
like
one Brotato mentioner. Like, what is it
Probably.
about that game that tickles your fancy so much?
Let's see. It is because I used to be a more like pro gamer, and that was all about the mastery of your hands in Rocket League and shooting. You shoot better every time. It's a very personal thing there. But then there's other games where you grind to feel smarter, so to speak. And as you learn the systems and how they operate, it is like you're messing with stats, you're messing with builds, where it's just like, okay, this does this, and my stats are here now. So how can I plan? It is the most that feels like Slay the Spire and the Binding of Isaac, all that emergent gameplay that comes out of it because of all the different systems in it. But it's just in one room, and it's super fast. It's got like the most depth for how quick it is. Honestly, it's probably the best bullet heaven game because it just has so many varying things where you go, okay, am I gonna try and be the bullet god, or am I just gonna try and be a tank and survive for the 60 seconds? You know, it is of those that came out of the survivors. That's probably the best one. Even Vampire Survivor, it is you grind for currency, so you can get 5% more movement speed from the start. You know, who I think it was Yahtzee actually that said, I might have been talking about Dead Cells, where he says the thing about the roguelike is when you die, you should be looking forward to the next run instead of just like, oh god, I got to start from zero again.
I may have said that. I've said a lot of things.
You just do say many things. And yeah, that's how it feels like. You start in the center of thing, and you can go in so many directions instead of just, you know, roguelites. I'm not blaming Hades, but with its popularity, people seem to think that, oh, people like that 5% and that you get some progress even though you lose, but all we're doing is sort of raising the floor. The game's not changing. It's just a little, you're closer to the end goal than when you started, but not by much.
Yeah. So there was a couple interesting points there, but I like the one of like where failure doesn't feel like a setback. Failure, like they make you want to keep going as opposed to feeling defeated. Like
they make you want to keep
inspired instead of defeated, I guess.
You can also win in different ways. Like a game that lets you define your own wins, I think that's what helps a grind. And usually it's like, oh, you have to beat it. No, this is like, oh, I unlocked the doctor because I just did a health build this time around. My goal isn't to win now. My goal is to take 5,000 things of damage. You know, like that's...
A lot of that's in how the flow of the game is organized. Like I find it very difficult to stop playing something like Stardew Valley because you get through the day, you go to bed, and then a new day starts. And I'm like, hell, I might as well just do another day because I've already got my list of things to do ready. And then the next thing you know, it's midnight and the children are dead.
Yeah, that
In the
real
game,
children
right?
or the game?
The game.
Both. You no longer
no.
can distinguish the difference.
Oh no. Yeah, there is creating that sort of feedback loop that gives you the endorphin drip at a regular basis, and so it doesn't feel like
Yeah.
you're ever biting off too much more. It's always like, oh, I can have another slice. I can have another
'Cause
slice,
it's like,
and then you've eaten
I guess
the
it's
whole
like
pizza.
the World of Warcraft experience bar. You get your nice flashy reward, and then immediately faced with the next challenge. Like
Yeah,
empty bar now, start again.
yeah,
Yeah, but
That's what keeps you going.
yeah, that in the sense. There's also resentment that can form. So, like, imagine what was it? Power Wash Simulator. You don't have to do 100% of the entire vehicle, but it's like 99, 98. But roguelites to me feel like 50%, and it's like, all right, on to the next one, and you're like, well, I kind of wanted, you know, like I wish you'd put a little more effort into making me want to keep going. With roguelites, it just feels it's just far too half-assed. Of like, oh, I just don't want you to feel bad. There is no actual extra content, but here's this thing that feels like a grind, like it's something that you can have, and it is. I think at some point, maybe someone did a games developer conference where they go, players don't like feeling like they lost everything, so they just put in this mechanic that's meant to just sort of be a consolation prize. That's how I see them. They're not really meant to be something you grind for. It's a consolation prize, but because it can be completed, you mentally make it a task. You mentally turn it into a grind, and when the longer it takes to do it, the more you resent it. Because I think, as much as anything else, we have to remember we're in the games for fun. Some people's grind can just be mental.
sure, yeah.
Like,
And
burn myself out on Assassin's Creed 1 trying to get all the flags. That was on me.
yeah, and it felt like it was also it was a little bit different when it was like you maybe only had a finite amount of games to play or at your disposal, or if you're on a tight income or you're a kid and you only get the one game for Christmas. Whereas now, even
That was
if
the
you don't
only
want to spend
reason
any
I did
money-
all the sliding tile puzzles in Zelda Wind Waker.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas now, even if you have no money, you can download infinite entertainment on your phone, on your PC, on any console. Like there are so many free to play things or incredibly cheap things that that sort of isn't a part of it anymore in my mind.
Honestly, I just kind of like doing sliding tile puzzles, if I'm honest.
They are
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, like Talos said, I think it's good, but just just move on. Or what was it? Yeah, you almost seem offended when I like these puzzles. It's good you like them. There's nothing against them.
Yeah.
Yes, they're fine.
As it goes, sometimes you just enjoy that kind of stuff. To the cynical side, do you think there's a trend in this increase of grind because it is a way to pad out game time? Let's not deny that you can fluff your time a bit.
Well, there are a lot of games certainly seem to be leaning on trying to pad themselves out as much as possible these days.
Mhm.
In the sense of something like God of War Ragnarok, the grind comes in the form of endless dungeons in between story moments. You go from one corridor to the next.
Isn't that new rogue mode, Marty? Like grinding for the
Valhalla.
narrative? Isn't that?
Yeah, Valhalla is interesting because in leaning on a rogue mode, it creates a more compact narrative than the game itself, which is just feels really strange. Like the Valhalla, like the 5-hour rogue DLC is tells a tighter and less padded story than the actual relatively linear story itself, which I find strange. Because in the main game, you are constantly, like Yahtzee said, that's a prime example of one of those things where you're constantly going into your inventory and constantly going into your menu and being like, oh, I got this thing which is 5% more, burn damage, or I got this armor which gives me a 2% quicker cooldown on something. And like I think we talked about this the other year, but like I had to be like, when I'm playing this game, I can only go to my menu once an hour. Otherwise, I'm going to be in this fucking thing after every battle. Like, I can only go in and change my equipment once an hour because I do not want this to become a game where I'm, using a fake ass cursor to navigate a menu and constantly min max my little dress up doll.
Yeah, you didn't play Diablo, did you?
No.
Yeah, that was the whole thing. Like,
That
because
is that,
yeah.
right? Like,
because
yeah.
loot drops all
just,
the time.
yeah.
If you try to min max all the time, you will waste all your time. So you're supposed to kind of just get to the end of the story and then diddle. Or if you get a big piece that actually changes something, like, oh, now you got
Yeah.
5 blades swinging out.
Yeah, sure, like a
Yeah,
brand new
instead
weapon
of
or
just
something.
like, hey, it's +2 stronger.
Yeah, that doesn't do anything
Well,
for
you
me.
know,
But
that
I know
could
for some people it does.
that could
It's
be
like-
nice. I mean, I've always thought like a good game design curve is to sort of go up and down in terms of energy. And
Yeah.
if you take a break from combat to sort through your inventory, that could be one way of doing that.
Yeah, self-impose in that way.
Because if it's just like constant noise, then you tend to get overstimulated.
Yeah. You need those moments of downtime, whether it's bite-sized levels or you opening a menu and sort of creating your own moments of downtime.
Yeah, it's just got to be worth it, you know? Like, it gets
Yeah.
to be too much like in, Borderlands. You don't start looking at every piece of loot. You get to a point where it's like, was it orange? Was it green? Okay.
Number go up. Number go
Color
up.
get larger.
Therefore better.
Number,
Yes.
number get huge.
Yeah.
Well,
Shall we go to Super Chats? We've been meandering a bit.
yeah, let's go.
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, and as a reminder, everyone, you can see that bar at the top of the screen. Thank you, everyone who donates on this stream and all of our other streams. Your super chats for the foreseeable future are going towards Adventures Nigh Season 4 on location, being filmed very soon. So we appreciate everyone's donos over there.
Also, buy merch. Buy all the merch.
All of it.
Buy all the merch, and then there will be no longer. There's Frost, the's Cold Take merch. You can get Cold Take hat, you
buy
can get a
Frost?
semi-Rambo zipper. Little zip,
Yeah.
not a zipper. You get a hoodie or a jumper.
We got lanyards yet?
Oh no!
Come
Nick,
on
can we
now.
get lanyards? Lenards.
Maybe,
How do you
maybe
keep your
for the-
keys?
maybe for the Second Wind Expo.
There you go, Lenards.
Anyway, starting with Jumbly Wobbly with $5, who says, Pop quiz hot shot. The year is 2001. Off the top of your head, top 5 best, blandest, and worst clocks ticking Yahtzee guess the games. Jesus, I can't remember what came out in
2001.
2001.
Well, your
Space
top would
Odyssey.
probably be Silent Hill 2.
That
Silent Hill
wasn't
2.
2000 That wasn't
Half-Life.
2001, was it?
Silent Hill 2, Metal Gear Solid 2, Halo.
Hang on, 2001 in
Smash
video
Melee.
games.
Eco, Jack and Daxter.
Metal Gear Solid 2, there you go. Crazy Taxi 2, Onimusha,
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto 3, Halo Combat Evolved, Super Smash Bros. Melee, Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Oh, damn. You started the awards in 2008. I was
Oh,
trying to
there's Silent Hill
Metal
2.
Gear Solid, or Final Fantasy 10. It was a big year.
Yeah. Oh, Max Payne and Shenmue 2.
It's crazy to think that there were games like 2000, just the 2000 bit. I feel the games from the 90s and the 80s and everything after the 2010s. 2000 was a strange year for
It was a
me.
weird like haze.
Yeah, I'm like, what's in there? Tetris? Yeah.
Yeah, just a lot of Tetris likes.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing to think Silent Hill 2 came out the same year as Sonic Adventure 2.
2 peas in a pod.
Yep,
What a
and
world.
9/11.
Couple of characters murdering their wives.
Yes.
Yeah.
Except for Sonic Adventure 2.
No, I think he killed it. Amy passed away in that game. Also, Slizer, thank you so much for gifting 10 memberships over in YouTube. Holy smokes. Thank you, Slizer.
Check out Mr. Community. Humane Shield gives $1.99 and says XCOM grind plus naming characters equals broken heart.
Oh, that's
Put some
funny.
stakes in that grinding.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
it's like Darkest Dungeon. You're grinding for your morals. Because if you really care about your characters, you're going to want to build them up so you don't lose them. Except me,
Yeah.
I go capitalist asshole. I'm like, all right, level one.
In theory, yeah, you get attached to characters and want to save them, but then what if you just have a bad day and just zone out for a bit, and then they just die because
Especially if
you
you've
weren't paying
named them
attention.
after like friends or colleagues or
Don't do that.
loved
Oh, God.
ones.
I just go with whatever name the default name is in XCOM. Because,
That way you don't feel bad putting them through the meat grinder.
I will learn to love them.
I itemize them. I'm just like, best boy. This is the best one. And then shit liquor.
Shit liquor.
SVSGO 2000 gives €5. Says, does it count as good difficulty design if the game dynamically and secretly lowers the difficulty after you fail a certain number of times?
That's not. Is that grinding?
No,
Is
that's
that-
just a question. I
No,
think.
because we were talking about
Oh,
how,
okay, okay,
how
okay.
like, in my view, a perfect difficulty curve is where I'm just winning
Mm-hmm.
all the way. Well, you have to die a few times for the game to start doing that. The tricky part is on the game's part is detecting that a player's having trouble, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. And like what the player is having trouble with. Like
Yeah,
Resident Evil 4 will have fewer enemies in certain encounters if you're having trouble. It will give you more ammo if you are
Yeah.
running out on ammo. And these are things that it does under the hood that it doesn't tell you about.
but if the
Nice.
player's just pissing about and like just fires a rocket at their own feet 3 times, going,
Yeah, what can we really learn
just,
from that?
just
You
because
just-
they're taking the piss, and would the game get easier if they did that?
Yeah, if it just
And that-
counts a death as a death. Yeah,
But how can the game differentiate between that behavior and serious play?
sure.
Do you guys like? I like to bask in the spoils. It's like I forgot what game it was, but it was chasing me across the screen, and it didn't matter how good I got at it. It would always just be at that exact like distance away from me, and I was like, I've mastered this course, and I feel like by now I should have gotten like a pretty sizable gap that I could visually see instead of it forcing you to be like this close always.
That's rubber banding, is what you're describing
Yeah,
there.
there you go. God,
Yeah.
one word for all the ones I just said.
Yeah, and those are that's to me always like a good chase scene, a good set piece, a good sort of quick platforming, everything's crumbling around me thing is where you constantly feel like you're about to fail but don't. And like that in my opinion that takes like real expert design because I've been playing some games where it's like I just keep fucking up every 2 or 3 like screens and then I'm just like,
Yeah.
well, I'll restart now. I guess I'll just learn how to do this. I'll learn exactly where you want me to jump and what to grab onto.
Hey,
And
those give me
That's-
anxiety. It's like those bad
Yeah.
dreams where you don't know how to run proper.
yeah,
I'd say Resident Evil 7 and 8 were very good at making sure I constantly felt like I was about to run out of ammo without actually running out.
Yeah. Maybe that's just something Capcom's good at.
Wojtek. Good old Wojtek. Oh, hang on. I think I missed
I think
one.
we had Fox D.
Yes, Fox D gives $5 and says, would like to see one of these Jiminy Cockthroat resource grind RPGs just bolt a cozy game on as its crafting system, like my time at Ubisoft. See, there are certain things that don't really blend that well. I mean, I remember saying when Jedi Survivor came out, they seem to be trying to like take influence from cozy games in that because you got like your home base where you can plant
Rooftop
flowers.
Farm. Yeah.
Yeah, but then
There's
in
a-
order to get all the flowers, you have to go out to the field and get murdered by robots while searching for flowers, and that's where it sort of breaks down for me.
There's a VR game I believe that's kind of like Moonlighter. You're a shopkeeper with all these guns and stuff, and you just sell guns. But I think at night you get ran at by robots, so you're just blasting them away, and then you sell them for better parts in the morning to people. It's just like okay, quite the
No.
loop.
Jared Jones also sent a $5 dono on Ko-Fi. Thank you so much, Jared.
Nice.
And then Wojtek, with his $10 donation, says, Happy New Year! Always thought the worst grinds were the ones rewarded by a cosmetic.
I mean, unless
Basically
that's
anything-
what you want, right? Like,
It depends on the thing. Cause like if it's saying, okay, beat this race in 5 seconds, jump 50 times, those sort of challenges for unlocks, I'm down for it. If it's just grind for currency for the cosmetic, oh my god.
It was more
Can't-
annoying playing, again, Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor, where I'd find a hidden chest by cleverly seeing the secret path through whatever, and then the only reward in the chest is like a slightly different grip for your lightsaber.
a
that
different
you can't
colored
actually
poncho. Oh, the lightsaber
Yeah.
things are the worst. You can't even see
I
those.
know.
Yeah.
That
The
that
second
pissed
one,
me off more.
the second one at least had some like outfits that looked a little bit different. It made you look like Han Solo or made you look like Dash Rendar. Whereas like the first one, I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, I don't want any of this.
Or there'd be a new beard. Christ
Yeah.
knows how it was in a box at the bottom of a lake, but
A wet used beard.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
was a Supra land. They're like these tiny little playground characters, and you'd find their dead bodies, but they were wearing like Han Solo's outfit. Now that you reminded me of
Yeah.
it, or He-Man or something like that. So
Yeah.
again, it's not so much the thing you're grinding for, but how you do it. Grinding for currency is probably the lamest one.
Eloise gives £2 and says, grinding to platinum a game.
Okay.
That's what a lot of those like achievements kind of. A lot of them build themselves around grinding. You need to kill X. Wasn't there famously the first Dead Rising game had an achievement where you had to kill? It was like something like 30,000 zombies, and it was because that was the population of the town the game took place in.
Yeah,
So
there
like
was a
over
bit
the
of
course of
dialogue
playing.
at the start of the game where they tell you what the population of the town is, and if you kill that many zombies, you get an achievement. Yeah, grinding out achievements is like for the specific kind of gamer who just wants to 100% complete stuff.
Yeah,
as their primary motivator.
I think the game's made for it. I'm down. I've just said Metroidvanias earlier. Obviously, that's famously
I always
like
have to be very careful to make sure I unlock every single square on the map when I'm playing Symphony of the Night.
Oh no! Even the ones where you have to like turn into a bat and like fuck around in the corners of rooms.
Just turn into a bat and float up into the corner of the sky where there's nothing to do and nothing to get.
Yeah.
Just because otherwise there'd be a big empty space on the map. Because that's how you navigated Metroidvanias. That's how you know where you haven't been yet and where to go back to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is true.
It's more involved and more inspired. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Mappy1964 gives $5 and says, my favorite grindy game is the original Resident Evil 4, in which you can go back through the game with the Chicago typewriter and the infinite rockets. Well, that's just catharsis and... cathartic time killing. Yeah, victory lap. Because I remember playing through it at least once with the infinite rocket launcher just because I could.
Mm-hmm.
How was it?
Yeah, those are things that are given to you like after you've already proven that you've kind of mastered the game.
Got to beat the game like 3 times to afford it.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
Some Japanese characters I don't understand. Gives 100 Swedish krona and says, Yahtzee insulting chat, make money go. That's the idea.
It's true. The Findome is strong in you.
And then Hunter Roach comes with $10 and says, I usually find the grind in RPGs turns me off, but I also find quarrying lots of stone to build with in something like Minecraft.
Oh man, you guys have not played the mods where you quarry stone so you can quarry more stone, and you take stone, and if you combine 4 of them, you get compact stone, and then if you combine 4 of those, you get compactor stone, and that's it. That's the whole thing. It's
I'm playing a mod that introduced gadgets like an automatic mining device that basically functioned like a Roomba. It would just go around in a big square and sucking up all the rocks as it went.
Like ultimately creating a factory.
Yeah.
There's a
Factorio.
There's a VR game that came out like a year or 2 ago, and it might be called Clockwork something, but you are kind of creating these automatons to try to create kind of like this chain, a factory chain in a room to solve a puzzle. But the automatons, when they create, you kind of record an action in VR, and then that is what the robot does. And so you like record catching something and throwing it to the side, and then when you walk away, all of a sudden there's a robot who catches something and throws it to the side at that exact speed. And then you go to where that thing throws it and you create a robot that catches that and puts it on a conveyor belt. And so you're like slowly creating this entire, I think Eric's literally showing it right now. That is the game I was thinking.
That sounds really cool, actually.
That sounds fun.
Jacob Geller was a big game, big fan of that game, and I'm not a big
if only we could remember what it's fucking called.
Eric's right there.
Clocky Dockies.
It's not called that.
The Last Clockwinder. There you go. Available.
Yeah, it is The Last Clockwinder.
Now that's a terrible fucking title.
What did you prefer, Clocky Walkie?
Because it just makes me think of The Last Airbender. Yeah, I'd say Clocky Walkie would have been a better title.
It's because you're not familiar with the first Clockwinder. If you knew the story of the first Clockwinder, you would feel emotional with this last Clockwinder.
There's a story.
Clockwinder. It's like saying Sex Haver.
Which, that's on my... Oh, that was on my old Tinder profile.
Haver of sex.
My Twitter is Opinion Haver, so there you go.
Yeah. Mother of Dragon, Haver of sex.
Anyway, Captain Seasick gives 50 Swedish krona and says, the way I see it, if a game ever feels like a chore stroke obligation stroke second job, it's probably best to just not play it. That's why I ended up hating Red Dead 2.
Yeah.
That's a weird example, Captain Seasick. I think a lot of people were with you until you said that.
Wait, what's the grind in Red Dead?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I just know that it's a really big open world, so it takes ages to get anywhere.
Is it like, what, skids or something? Are you a fur trader? Is that what you're grinding? Yeah, that is a little
I feel like
job.
it'd be pretty easy to play Red Dead Redemption 2 without doing that.
Yeah, that's actually what helped me overcome like Far Cry 3. I remember I played it when it came out, and I just put it away because I was like, I'm not getting all the locations and all this nonsense. But this time I'm playing it with just story, and I only go off the beaten path if I need an upgrade. So it's like, again, some grinds are in your mind. Yeah. Not sure what you grind in Red Dead. I haven't played it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
You'll-
missed a comment with the Ko-Fi donation as well. Nick didn't send it to me. Apologies for that. I find that the difference between farming and grinding is time. Farming is a short-term goal that you may not do again, while grinding is longer compared directly to farming.
You ever farmed, brother? Usually it's the other way. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
So
if you like if
Logan!
you want a grindy podcast game, Farming Simulator will do the job pretty
Yeah.
well as you go back and forth along the field in
Yeah.
your automatic planting device.
I'd almost say grind is supposed to be the short-term one, and that's why if it just goes on for too long, it makes me mad.
Yeah.
It's
Semantics.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jules Rowe gives €5. Says, I like the grind for better gear more than grinding for RPG stats like in Baldur's Gate 3. I also like the sexual grind at Karlach.
Oh. Yeah.
This is Karlach a city.
Fair enough.
That's a character. No, a bad grind ruins knives, lap dances, and video games.
Nice. Yeah, that's the kind of grinding I like.
Your knife.
Grinding up against another fully clothed model in a video game.
I like grinding me axe with people. Yeah.
Will Cooling gives £2 and says, you've been following meta grinding to beat Tetris.
Huh.
I did hear some story about some kid actually getting to the last level of Tetris for the first time in history.
Yeah, he froze the game. I just ran out of code.
Right.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah, because famously Pac-Man does that if you get to level 250 or something.
Doesn't it like start fading and like starts not working? Like it falls apart the further you go in. That's cool. More games should do that. Where it's like just lets you push it to the brink. That was actually the mark of a good roguelike in the earlier days. If you could get so strong it crashes your PC. Like, yeah, that's good. Risk of Rain.
break the whole fucking thing.
Yeah, break the whole game. That was the ultimate goal.
Ben R gives $5 says, if the game stops until I do a tedious grind, then I'm no longer playing a game. I'm doing a reverse job. Yeah, but isn't the satisfaction of eventually beating the game all the sweeter for having put work in?
I think
Arguably.
it's illustrative. If progress is a straight line, I'm okay with the grind that feels like it goes off to this side and then it comes back in. If it feels like it goes straight to the side and then I'm going to cut back in through, that's not good.
Yeah.
Not visually.
That's why I keep couching all this thing with like all of these are like in the eye of the beholder, because like a grind to one person might be like, it is insane to be watching a TV show while also holding your Switch and leveling up your little digital men in a dungeon. And I'm like, no, I like that. And then other people would be like, oh, I need to do my dailies every morning with my buds in Destiny. And I'm like, that sounds fucking awful. I don't want to talk to my buds every morning. So it's, again, eye of the beholder. Not in the morning. I have no morning buds. Only evening and nighttime buds.
You're not a social dailier like social smokers.
A social? No.
You
I was with
wouldn't
the Avengers, and I
You
learned
were
my lesson.
alone though, Marty. That's
No, I played. Well, I played with some friends, and then they stopped playing, and I kept playing, which was all the sadder because they were like, "No, we've moved on."
Like some grinds are tolerant if they let you bring someone. You know.
Yeah.
Well,
There should be prison. If you get a prison sentence, you should be able to bring a friend,
The moral support.
like a bud. Yeah, bring a roommate.
yeah. So we can jump the biggest guy in this bitch.
Jacob Alexander Tice gives $5 and says, Yahtzee, your doggo looks like you as a doggo.
Never pictured you as a chihuahua.
Verdict.
Wow, that's
I mean, a little bit.
Verdict.
Yeah.
that's pretty close.
There's a lot of don't dogs like resemble a lot of people's.
do
Is
have
it just
or
because
dogs?
he's very.
Puffy always looks bored?
He's because he has deadpan as you. Yeah.
Do you think Toffee would be a good author, a good writer?
Well, he expresses
Well,
himself a lot,
Through osmosis, yeah, I think he could do it.
Do
mainly
you think
through
Toffee was
urine.
inspired by Wishbone?
Mm.
Like, does he look up to Wishbone, the crime-solving dog writer? Is that who
I
Wishbone
think
was?
I think Toffee would rather just go to sleep at this point.
Yeah,
Same.
I think he wants to go back in the jacket.
I love how
I'm
sleepy
sorry,
he always
Toffee.
looks, like one eye open, like
Sorry, Toffee, the internet made me wake you up.
for money. Better say at least $50 dono for that. Too sweet.
Give us a kiss, Toffee. You're embarrassing me on the internet.
Not in front of my friends.
I like
my
that there's
internet
people who
friends.
listen to this. There's people who just listen to this every week. And it's like, what was that? You're not going to know. You got to come to youtube.com/this URL. I don't know what the URL is.
Card crash.
Emil Schilder Hansen gives 10 Danish kroner and says nothing.
Thank you, Emil.
Thanks for the money anyway. Max KO gives $10 says, what do you guys think of grinds that limit you to only a few times a week? I play FF14, and when they put out new raids and gear, they limit the amount of currency you can earn each week to get armor.
Oh man, see, I know it's for my own good.
Yeah, it's socially responsible, but it seems weird to do that.
Like, let me get weird with it, homie. Like, just one weekend, raise the cap a little.
It's like a Nintendo game.
It's the Purge. The game is lawless.
Yeah. But it's also dickheads when it's like you're capped out, and then you can pay for more. Like, wow, come on now.
It's like how Nintendo games are always like, hey, stop playing every few hours, or you might die somehow.
Yeah, and
check on the elderly, make sure they're okay.
Yeah, and Blizzard gives you offline bonuses to incentivize you to get off and come back.
Is Nintendo one of the few companies that has avoided the grind?
Well,
it
depends how you define the grind.
Yeah, I guess you can grind in like in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom and stuff.
Grind Super Mario Brothers speed runs.
That's true.
Wait, hold on. Yeah, the coins, like the Mario Galaxy, is that not a grind?
No, I mean usually there's like 120 stars, and that's just the goal of the game. Like coins just give you extra lives. Yeah,
it's more of a collectathon because like every star is acquired a different way.
Yeah. The 900 moons, Jomly, in Mario Odyssey might be the closest thing. But again, that's like a finite goal of the game, which feels different than like
and again, each moon is acquired a different way, so it's not grinding the same thing.
Yeah. Should have more games with Jeff Goldblum at the end. It's like, what are you doing? It's over. Go
home.
Go home.
Palash T gives $1.99 and says CDPR's grind was just very well done side missions.
Honestly,
fair enough.
Yeah, put thought into the grind.
I like going Witcher and very blue collar of him.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I was just distracted by some correspondence for a second. Where was I?
Iced Kocha.
Iced Kocha, yes, who gives $10 to say, Marty, I missed the opportunity to ask this in the last Firelink podcast, but is Eiyuden Chronicles a game you're looking forward to this year? It's the Suikoden spiritual successor. Yes, you big weeb. Explain about this game you love.
The Suikoden?
Suikoden, which have nothing to do with Suika game. There's no watermelons in these games. We're a series of beloved PS1 and beyond JRPGs from Konami. And Eiyuden Chronicles is the sort of Bloodstained / Mighty No. 9 / Ukulele of this, where a lot of the original creators crowdfunded a spiritual successor that sort of hones in on the same thing of 108 playable party members you can gather and town building and all that thing, all that jazz. And it is coming out, I believe, this spring. Also, Konami is doing a Suikoden 1 and 2 HD remaster, so it feels like those are almost in harmony together. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. A lot of times those kind of spiritual successors don't land the ship. Bloodstained never really did it for me. Mighty No. 9's a disaster. Ukulele, I don't know, same thing. Bomber Cyberpunk, I feel like gathered the same energy as Jet Set Radio, but it was just none of those creators. So I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic about it, I would say.
Speaking of grind, you literally grind on things in that game. That is
real grinding. That's beautiful.
Yes. Yeah. Venomon Killer gives $5. Says, I bought Hades just last year and put in 200 some odd runs with around 100 clears and heat level 12 plus heat on all weapons just for the story. Well, la-di-da, Venomon Killer. What do you want? A medal?
I mean, that took a
round of applause.
That was my issue. Is I beat Hades on this third run, and there was still so much more story, and I was like, oh man. So all that was left for me was to grind narrative.
Well, it's good a thing as any. Better than grinding numbers, I suppose.
I don't know. Little graph paper.
Oh, the games gives $4.99 and says Frost. The best Bullet Heaven game is Bullet Heaven 2, made by an indie dev who got his start making flash games like Epic Battle Fantasy 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
That's funny. I don't think that's an actual Bullet Heaven though, as we know them now. That was just called Bullet Heaven. It was a bullet hell.
Is there a bullet purgatory?
What would you even do in Bullet Purgatory? Is that where all the bullets just stay still and you have to move around them?
Yeah, what is that? Super hot? What?
That's bullet purgatory.
Yeah, I think that's the in between.
Yeah.
I had an idea for a game based around that once, where you're like some kind of super fast ninja, and first thing that happens is like a bunch of dudes burst in and like fire assault weapons at you for a few seconds, and then you go into like super slow mo, super fast reflexes mode, and then it's basically about navigating an organic maze of bullets to kill all the dudes.
Oh, I like that.
I like
That
it.
sounds nice.
But anyway, Yorth87 gives 20 Danish kroner and says, "Just one more turn. That's civilization for you."
Yeah.
Yeah, I never been into that sort of thing.
Keeps you up when the sun's coming up.
Extension Cable gives €10. Says, "I cleared Hades about 20 times. Where's everyone waving their Hades peen all of a sudden?"
That's the roguelike thing.
Yeah, Nick put it in the art. People
Wanted
love
to
pulling
keep-
out their peens for the art.
Wanted to keep going, but then I remember the Styx levels, and then I get put off again.
Yeah. Sticks is all
Well,
right.
you ain't gonna be in the professional Hades quarterfinals.
It's fine. I think last year somebody beat the game on all skulls, highest difficulty. We've given up, waiting for Hades.
Yeah, it's done.
Yeah.
Race Car Lock gives $5. Says, "I like the grind of hardcore racing sims like the R Factor series, Automobilista series, and Assetto Corsa series, where progress is measured in time."
Assetto Corsa is a racing game?
That's a type of.
Bless
It's
you.
close,
I
isn't
thought
it?
it was like a JRPG
Thank
series
you.
that I never played because Yahtzee's brought that
No.
series up before in the grand scheme of the ACs, and I always just assumed it was some shit I never
No,
played.
You
it's
play a
just like
hardcore
a
racing
sort of-
sims.
It's a fairly straight racing game, Assetto Corsa.
No,
I
he just knows about
appreciate.
it. Oh, sorry.
I do appreciate the grind of trying to beat your best time, like in Neon White and
That's good.
racing games like that. And
Mhm.
I just had a quick go on Kick Bastards the other day, which had a similar sort of feel. But I'll probably be playing more of that on Wednesday.
Oh, a tease! Can you imagine?
Tease.
Zach Vierheller, thank you so much for joining the tip jar. Appreciate it, Zach.
Palash T gives $1.99 and says, "Least fave characters in Stardew, I nominate Lewis." Oh, probably one of the like bachelorette's mums that you can't seduce. And what's the point of having characters you can't shag in that game, especially when they're hot milfs?
Yeah, great. That's a great question. Grandpa Ghost, forced character.
Well, nobody wants to seduce Grandpa Ghost.
Is this Grandpa Ghost an actual thing?
I'm
Yeah, because
talking
the whole
about
thing is you inherited the farm from your dead grandpa, and then 3 years later he's like,
yeah.
"I'm checking in on you. How have you done?"
Oh,
But let's not distract from the hot milfs.
Yeah,
sure.
There's a whole bunch of like married women in that game, and you can't seduce any of them. I hope there's a mod.
Yeah.
An
I hope there's a
infidelity
mod where you. Yeah, I want basically I want the mother-daughter threesome mod.
Sure. If they've modded Skyrim to where you can kick the children, I don't know why you can't have your MILF mod.
Excuse me. What?
Yeah, because you can't hurt kids in the base Skyrim. Someone
No,
modded it so
yeah.
you could.
Yeah, they just like all damage just bounces off them.
Yeah.
For what I would hope would be obvious reasons. Anyway, Pepper Blood gives 99 euro cents.
Thanks,
Pepper
Pepper Blood.
With
Venomon
no
Killer
message.
also re-upped their membership. Thank you so much, Venomon Killer. Is catching Pokemon a grind? I love that, to be honest.
Well, yeah, got to catch them all.
Well, see,
Yeah.
you guys say catching them, but I will literally sit. I'll get the grass or the fire type, and I'll sit in the beginning area, and I'll just keep on doing that training XP stuff until I'll just fly right on by. Grind is as much the results as anything else. Like grinding an actual knife, you just want to gawk at how sharp it is, and you look for things to cut. Like
Yeah.
paper and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah, there's the like grind of also shinies of like 1 out of every whatever 1,000 battles you'll get a shiny Pokemon that you can catch, which are extremely rare. And then Pokemon even like alleviated some of the grind of battles by introducing XP share, like an item that allows everyone in the party to level up, not just people who participated in the battle. Not people, Pokemon, but whatever. Pokemon are just people.
Ash
in
leveled up.
Ash leveled up.
Anyways, well, I got shit tons of these still to read out.
Yeah.
You're so good.
Matthew C. Snow gives $4.99. Well, it's almost like I'm a professional reader of things.
You are.
Well, I finished my pickups for my next audiobook over the weekend.
Ooh.
Matthew C. Snow gives $4.99 US and says, for games like Baldur's Gate 3 and Rogue Trader, there's times I roll up my sleeves, put on a podcast, and do my clean out inventory / level up characters time.
Yeah,
That's
yours.
That's fun. Self-imposed and inspired. Oh yeah. Nothing like it.
Rascally Scramp gives $10. Says, question for Frost. In one of the previous episodes, you talked about a eugenics-style dating sim or something like that. Was it Lakeburg Legacies, and what did you think? Had my eye on it for a bit.
That is actually it. Yep, that is exactly. Eric's got the game up on the screen right now. That is exactly the game that I was talking about, where you are you're building a city, but to like instead of you need a baker, so you need to create a couple, be a matchmaker, and one of them's a baker. You have
to play God.
Yeah, so you're playing matchmaker is what you're doing, but then it's like, wait, I'm playing God because I am breeding better bakers and all this other stuff. I just played the demo. I don't want to judge it too much, but it was interesting. It was funny.
That's a mechanic in Fire Emblem games as well, isn't it? You can matchmake and like their offspring get specific abilities.
Yeah, the 3DS versions.
Yeah, it's fine when it's like peas and stuff. When it's people, I was like, I don't know. But outside of that, yeah, it seemed interesting. At least the demo. I don't know if it's out now.
Loki's Wager gives $5 US. Says, nice to have you back, gentlemen. Has there ever been a game where you get to the end and want there to be more grinding? Nothing leaps to mind. Yeah. But then I'm a story chaser, as I said.
Yeah, I can't. Honestly, I can rarely think of a game where I've gotten to the end and been like, this should have been longer. Like, if I like a game, I'm like, great. Thank you for providing a great experience with me.
Just Dredge in recent memory.
Just Dredge.
I'm
wondering how replayable Dredge is going to be, because I really enjoyed my one playthrough, and I've had, as of yet, no desire to go back.
DLC's out.
That's true. I should futz around with some of that.
Yeah,
Frozen Tundra or whatever.
I think a grind should inevitably come to a stop. We've talked about Yassi's talked about good endings. I don't think it should just be something you do forever. No. I mean, I play hunting games. They don't really have an ending or anything. It's the thing that you're doing. Yeah.
Rayendo gives 25,000 PYGGs, whatever they are, and says, Yahtzee, thanks for all the content over the years, and Frost, oh Christ, you'll have to forgive my accent here. Quanto cigarillos al dia necessito para tener esa voz?
It's like Mexican Michael Caine himself, isn't it? But ¿cuántos cigarrillos al día necesita para tener esa voz? How many cigars do you smoke a day? I don't. Don't be smoking. It's bad for you. It causes cancer or something.
Unless you get extra breaks at the coffee shop, which is good for you.
Yeah.
Take gummy bears instead.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Mr. Venom 1998 gives $5. Says, my favorite grindy game is Kenshi. It always feels great in that game to start as a total loser to the feared man in the world.
I don't even know what Kenshi is.
Kenshi? It's a racing game.
No, it's one of those like immersive sim things.
Oh.
Immersive RPGs.
Yeah, it looks like it. I've never even heard of it.
It's free roaming squad-based RPG. Okay.
Yeah. Chili Head Gaming gives €5. It says, worst grinds are when you have to grind meaningless, uninspired side quests just so you can progress main story. Looking at you, Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Yeah. Yeah, like locking the next step of the journey behind, like, well, you got to get to this level, or you gotta do side quests until the town's ready to open its gates to you. That's always feels like that's when padding.
Got to go around listening to people's bullshit problems.
So I don't like MMOs too much. It's like, okay, I've got the chickens, now what?
Untitled gives $9.99 US. Says, Yahtzee, I know you enjoy your classic British sci-fi humorists. Do you have an opinion on Kurt Vonnegut? P.S. Enjoyed the recommendation of The Man Who Was Thursdays. Kurt Vonnegut was Slaughterhouse 5, right?
Correct. Breakfast
'Cause
Champions.
I have read Slaughterhouse 5 and I remember liking it.
There you
Yeah,
go.
I'm a big
So
Vonnegut fan.
Kurt Vonnegut's okay with me.
It's great. Big thumb up.
Okay. Taito the Toe Taker gives $2 and says the VR game is called The Last Clockwinder. Oh,
We
welcome
did
to
it.
20 minutes ago.
Oh
Taito
no!
the Dog Taker.
Maybe he rewound the clock, and he's actually one of his own little automatons. Think about that.
you
God.
let them pay to say anything they want.
John Connor gives $5 Canadian. Says more money for Adventurers Now. Can't wait for the season 3 finale after 84 years. Oh, don't be so hyperbolic, John Connor.
New episodes coming in February. The last 3 episodes of the
Yeah.
season.
Yeah, then we have to shoot straight off and record another bloody season.
Apparently, you're gonna have to do a level up session as well.
It's like doing
For
the laundry. It's the chore that's never actually done.
It's true.
'Cause by the time it's done, there's more laundry to do.
Yeah,
That's why
like wiping
do
your ass.
do
Wipe your ass,
laundry.
and all of a sudden there's more ass to wipe.
There you go. Why wipe? Yeah.
Why wipe?
Well, that's why I have a B-day.
The way you say
Joseph
B-Day
Ashby.
makes it sounds like D-Day.
HPT. Oh,
No, it sounds like
D-Day.
D-Day. Like,
I heard like
boys are
you know,
landing at Normandy.
B-day. There's certain pronunciation I am rigid on. I've been leaning more towards yogurt lately, but I'm sticking to B-day like glue.
You don't say yogurt anymore.
Well, I tend to think of it as yogurt is how you pronounce it if there's an H in it, and yogurt is how you pronounce it if there isn't an H in it.
Oh. What's up? I was watching Ted Lasso, and one of the fellas, the way he would say his ending, his name was Jamie. How would you say Jamie?
I would say Jamie.
Yeah, his accent, he was Jamie, like up. It goes upwards.
Jamie.
No,
That's just
yeah,
that's
Jamie.
that's like a Scottish accent.
No, he was English. I want to say he was a Manc. I'm not sure.
Jamie Tart.
Yeah, Jamie Tart. Jamie Tart.
Jamie. Right. Well, that's just saying Jamie, but with a specific accent.
I'm not sure where it was. It was regional, but yeah.
Yeah. Joseph Ashby gives $5 New Zealand and says, "Hi guys, love your work. Would you consider Shadows of Doubt a grindy game? You said that once you know the patterns, it becomes more work-a-day. I did. I also said that's kind of what I liked about it. It's become the sort of post-stat grindy work game that feels like it reflects more like what actual private detective work is like. Just going down lists of names and calling them all up and seeing if any of them are the one you're looking for. It's good old classic non-glamorous boots on the ground detective work."
Yeah, like if it feels like work, first check: are you playing one of these post-stat games? Because that's kind of the point.
Yeah.
Like Farming Simulator, yeah, it feels like work. That's the point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun though.
Bag of Decks gives $2 and says, "Used to grind Destiny 1 and 2, then I got better." Well, congratulations on your recovery, Bag of Decks.
You just wait till Destiny 3 comes out.
Oh god.
Leighton joined the Green Gang. Thank you so much, Leighton. And Raffle gifted a second win membership over on YouTube. Thank you so much, fellas.
Thank you very much. And Taito the Toe Taker comes back with $5 and says, "I found the robot automation game. It's The Last Clockwinder. I hate unanswered mysteries." It was
Are
answered.
these jokes?
I
Because
appreciate
we answered
you,
it.
Taito
Yes.
the Toe Taker, because I did not know that. Thank you.
I remember that, we already knew what the title was at the time you posted your first super chat.
Hold on,
It was at the
wait.
end of the video Eric played. We all saw it.
What was the name of that one automaton game?
The
maybe
last
someone.
Clockwinder.
No,
Near Automata, I think.
it was Clocky Ducky.
Yeah,
Clocky
clock.
Ducky.
Yeah, can't remember.
Hickory Dickory Clock, it
Oh,
should have
no.
been called.
Oh
That's
no,
That's not the worst thing.
you're talking about your Wingus.
Leighton591 gives $5 and says, "Realized I've been member for 2 months on Second Wind Live, never here for some reason." Weird anime emoji thing.
Well,
I'm glad more of the money I pay for subs goes to you guys. We like that too.
We're
Yeah,
on
and
it.
make sure you're subscribed to both channels because you get some of the live things here, but most of it's going to be over there, including Yahtzee Tries, including
Yeah.
Hidden Gems 2.0 tonight at 6 p.m. Oh boy,
Yeah. we recently updated the policy on that. So Yahtzee tries the live stream, goes out on Second Wind Live channel, but the edited highlights video with mini reviews goes out here on the main channel. All right.
All right.
That sounds great to me.
Humane Shield gives 199 and says the book Dune is dense grind. Some people like it.
I heard that about what was it? The Magic Circle? No, what's that Prime thing? Wheel of Fantasy.
Wheel of Time?
That's the one. Yeah.
Wheel of Fortune?
Yeah.
Wheel of Fortune is kind of grindy. It has no ending.
Yeah. Well, it's been going on for who knows how fucking long.
Yeah.
Yeah. Poor Vanna White.
Ivar gives 100 Norwegian kroner and says, I grinded. That always sounds wrong to me. I would say yeah, that also sounds wrong. I don't think there's any way you can say it where it sounds right.
I had a grind.
I
had a grind. Yeah.
You know, the other thing is that when you're talking about computer mice, saying mice just sounds wrong, but then saying mouses sounds wrong as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, I grinded 4,000 plus hours of Destiny 2. At the beginning, it was fun to play while I was grinding. After several game updates and content blended together, the playing stopped and it only became a grind.
It always was.
Was it after 4,000 hours, or did it become a grind after the first 1,000 and you had to make sure with the extra 3,000?
That's a crazy amount of hours.
That's so many hours.
It's like drugs, right? Drugs are a grind, aren't they? You always chase high until eventually you're like, I'm too in. No content updates.
Well,
this is enough.
Some drugs are more grind than others.
Yeah.
No content updates.
Kudlak13 gives $10 and says, I've played Pokemon for years and found a handful of shinier, but only while replaying Soul Silver did I find Pokerus, a temporary condition that doubles a Pokemon's stats.
Oh, God. I think
Okay.
I'd lose my mind.
Over at our launch day stream of Pokemon Legends Arceus, Nick caught a shiny and just was ambivalent to it. And like me in the chat were just like losing our shit because we're like, this is like a 1 in 20,000 thing that you just did. Like, this is incredibly impressive, Nick. He did it within the first like hour. Well done, Nick. So good at games.
Is it the free one? I hate when games do that.
Ooh.
They give you the mandatory rare one. And I was
Yeah,
like,
to give you a
how rare
taste.
can it be? Everyone gets
First
it.
taste is free. Yeah.
Lewis gives £5 and says, I got a dressing gown for Christmas and wearing it every day. Yahtzee, as a gamer, do have tech for pooping easily in it. It's a cold experience.
Yeah,
I like that we call them techs. It's like it's speed running or something. Yeah, I got some good pooing in a bathrobe strats. Basically, I just hike it up at the back and drape it over my knees.
Yeah, wear no underwear. Makes it easier.
Well, that's for the serious speedrunner. That's like the any percent run.
Yeah, no glitch, nothing. No, 100%.
Of course,
I should hope there's no glitches. If there's glitches when you're taking a shit.
Any percent means any percent, Marty. Anything could go. But
yeah, I think the speed run for any percent is just do it on the floor.
Yeah.
just where you are, right there. Yeah.
Someone's about to bring up "Don't Shit Your Pants." That to text adventure game, because the speed run for that was just shit on the floor.
Sure.
Oh, okay.
Hey, but you didn't shit your pants, so think about that.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, the game absolutely lampshades that.
Wait, text adventure like Zork?
It's like a joke, like text adventure you can
okay.
play in a browser. I think it's by the guys who've made Rogue Legacy. But
okay.
yeah, it's just a very short text adventure where you have to go to the toilet in a limited number of turns without shitting your pants. And the meta game is like there's a bunch of different achievements to find. You have to find all the different ways to beat the game. And one of the ways to beat the game is to take your pants off and shit on the floor.
What is it? Yeah, if you go to a meeting, how about it?
Look at this is like a diarrhea time loop game. We gotta figure out like how to get
Outer
out of
Wilds
that.
eat shard.
Basically, yeah. Because then you immediately reload and then you have to... It's like Slay the Princess almost. You've got to find... Now we have to not shit our pants in a subtly different way to unlock a different ending.
That's a fun grind. Alternate endings, sure.
Yeah.
Isn't that near?
Nier has a lot of them. Yeah, one for every letter of the alphabet.
Oh,
There's
Although
26.
some of them are...
how long's the base game?
No, some of the like you can get one ending by removing like if you go into your inventory, you have like an operating system chip and
Yeah.
you're equipped, and if you unequip it, you die, and you get one of the endings.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
So not all the endings are like going through the whole game.
okay, fun.
Afix gives $10 and says, in my opinion, there are only two masterpieces in the last decade, Death Stranding and Red Dead Redemption 2. Additions, stroke thoughts. You're wrong,
In the
Afix.
last decade, Tetris is pretty fucking banger.
What about Tetris?
And, just watched the movie.
I would say I thought the movie was nice. I loved both those games. I would say even that year had an extra one with Outer Wilds, the aforementioned Outer Wilds. There's been good games every year. Masterpieces in the eye of the beholder.
We're talking masterpiece. What hill would you die on as far as a masterpiece goes? 2013.
Portal is a masterpiece.
That was before 2013, though.
Oh, that's right.
Last decade.
Undertale? No, wait, that's 2011 as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
No,
that's when games
after
stopped.
that, right?
That's when games stopped being good. Yeah,
Return of the Obra Dinn. Return of the Obra Dinn is a masterpiece.
That's clean. Yeah.
That's one. Yeah, I would say Breath of the Wild. I would say Death Stranding, Outer Wilds, personally.
So your Return of the Obra Dinn, I'll take Undertale because it was 2015.
I would say the implication of masterpiece is that it comes from an auteur, because it's like the work created by an artist that shows that person is a master.
We've talked about that before. I disagree with that.
Well, let's agree to disagree and fucking move on. We're so close to being done.
I would like you. You just had to bring out those big guns. We would have been out if you just wouldn't have brought the biggies out.
Eric Weichart, our cheeky producer, gives 20 ARS dollars to pipe in that, are we still talking about The Last Clockwinder?
That was the name of it. That was the name of it.
That game, yeah, the one on screen right now. That you guys
I'd entirely forgotten in the last 12 seconds.
That was the name of it.
CC gives 99 cents and nothing else, not even a comment. What a loser.
Just be nice. This is how we get to the finish line, by being nice.
That's couch change right there. I like.
He didn't pay me enough to be nice. If it's a dark blue super chat, they're taking the piss.
That's discrimination.
Anyway, here's a much nicer orange super chat from Citrus, who gives 140 Zara dollars and says, petition to make the past tense of grind ground. Yeah, fine. Let's just standardize that from now on.
It's like hang and hung, yeah.
Let's add that to the style guide.
Sure. Ground.
Gildan Yetich gives $2 and says, progression is tolerable as long as I'm having fun.
See, I've got a problem with using humans as the litmus test because they're so different.
Wolfie Inu gives another 140 Zard hours. Maybe there's a tax break if you give exactly 140 Zars. And says, I see ground and I raise begrinded.
Right.
I don't think that's going to take off.
Begrundled.
Big ground. I think it needs another hard consonant in the end. I grunted for 4,000 hours now.
Yeah,
well, I think, if you're doing that on the toilet, then I think you should probably see a doctor.
Yeah.
I'm unlocking the achievement, yeah.
And then gives £5 and says, common misconception, it's the last Clockwinder's monster.
That's a good goof. That's a good goof.
That's good.
What a jolly goof to end on. Oh, well, it would be if there hadn't been another one right after that. Centurion Zen gives $2 and says, tanks in games, they should be better, right? Are you working for that World of Tanks, people?
Are you in the pocket of big tank?
When was the last time you guys played a tank in a game?
Good question. I can't remember. There certainly haven't been very many tank-centric games besides World of Tanks.
Some people built tanks in Tears of the Kingdom. I was never smart enough to do that, but I've seen some cool videos of them.
Oh, yeah. Also started religion.
I mainly just built like gliders in Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah. I mainly just built automatons with huge dongs.
Because the trouble with tanks is they're not terribly maneuverable.
No.
Especially the way most games are designed.
Like the cows of war. Yeah, no. Probably Battlefield. Been a long time. Like 10 years since I've been in a tank. Well.
Yeah, Arkham Knight, Casey mentioned. That was all tank. I didn't like that tank. Get that tank out of here.
That was more of an armored car.
All right. What is going on? What is a tank if not an armored car?
I'm going to say it's not a real tank if it's not on Caterpillar tracks.
Not all of them are on those.
Hashtag
Tell
not
me
all
I'm
tanks.
wrong.
Not all tanks. You're wrong.
What is the official definition of a tank? What separates armored car from tank?
Oh no, is tank an acronym like ATM machine?
No.
I don't think so.
I think
Like Scuba.
No.
Oh yeah, Armored Core. Are any of those things tanks? If you put treads on those boys?
There you go. Yeah,
No,
you
they're
like those, didn't you?
mechas.
Damn.
They're mechas, surely.
Uh,
Well, why don't we leave this debate to the comments in their spare time so we can piss off and get on with our days?
yeah, because I googled tank and it gave me a water tank. That's what it ends
Right.
on.
It's time to wrap it up.
Well, thanks for listening to the Windbreakers podcast. We're all happy to be starting a big new year on Second Wind, and we're always gratified to see the reactions and the super chats from you guys. You're the reason we do it week in, week out. You're what make it worth it. Well,
Agreed.
most of you.
Yeah.
Most of you besides the ones with the fucking couch change super chats. Fucking time wasted. Anyway. I'm Yahtzee Crowshaw. You can see me later this week on Fully Ramblematic. I got a new one of those coming out, and I think I got a new semi-Ramblematic this week as well on Thursday. And on Wednesday I'll be streaming a game on Yahtzee Tries. Oh, and later this week, I think, did we agree we were doing it Thursday or Friday? The first QA stream in which I bug someone into playing Starstruck Vagabond and watch them play it and take notes.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, we'll figure that out.
Yes, big
We
exclusive.
should have talked about that in the meeting this morning.
Big exclusive exposure of Starstruck Vagabond this week. That'll be
Definitely.
either Thursday or Friday morning around this time, I think.
Yep. And then we get to play Marty's game, and we just keep rotating. Yep.
Yeah.
What's
Like
your
it's really-
game, Marty?
It's called I just made 24 hours without crying.
That's good.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
That's a title that does sound like a title you'd give like a game on itch.io or something.
Yeah. I'm working on one called The Last Clockwinder. I'm not sure what it's going to be, but I like the title.
Oh, Tyrell 007 says, tank, a heavy armored fighting vehicle carrying guns and moving on a continuous articulated metal track. Eat it.
Yeah, definitions evolve, words change, jazz.
I mean, the definition of dictionary is that these words are made up.
Yeah.
Well, I plugged all my stuff. You two plug your stuff. Marty, you plug first.
Later today, 6 p.m. Central, go to the aforementioned Second Wind Live channel, and you can hang out with Casey, Jesse, and Jess as they play Grand Blue Fantasy versus Rising. It is a fighting game in the Grand Blue universe. It's made by Arc System Works, who make the Guilty Gear games, which are beloved fighting games.
Okay.
So see if that is a hidden J or not.
Versus Rising. What a name.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there. And then we're gonna have streams all week.
I
Tomorrow,
feel something rising in my colon.
is it gonna be Don't Shit Your Pants Simulator?
Oh no.
Oh no. Yeah, and then we'll have streams all week. Nick will be back tomorrow at around 3 p.m. Central for kicking off the backlog. We have streams all day, and then Sunday starting at 10 a.m. Central, big day of streaming. Nick's next Persona punishment stream all day. Tune in. Yeah. What about you, Frost?
Oh yeah. I probably should have gone because I have nothing new, as this is the week of making it all for next week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you have that to look forward to.
Well, what
There
did
you
you
go.
put out last week that people might not have seen yet?
Last week I pulled out an old cold take talking about the preservation paradox. Like, isn't it just weird now how these games don't last as well as the old plastic?
Funny
I
that.
swapped to digital for a reason. Oh well.
Be sure to check that out.
Mhm.
All right, well, I got to go walk the dog and have lunch and then play my review copy of the new Prince of Persia game that I've got because I'm connected and great.
Nick
And
cut it
late.
for you.
And we're
Yeah.
late.
Well, I'm connected and great because I'm connected to you guys who get
Aw.
me games.
He's talking
Aw,
about his UB Connect.
sweet.
Yeah.
Waka waka. Bye, everyone.
Bye.